Marvel Rivals is a game that looks simple on the surface, but behind the scenes, there's so many secret techs and tips that you probably have never heard of before. So in this video, we're going to break down 50 tips for Marvel Rivals and go through each and every one, showing you things that you can utilize in your games. But we've been growing really rapidly on this channel thanks to you. But if you don't know, I actually stream on Twitch and YouTube Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, every single week, starting at 9 a.m. CST. We grind the ladder, give you tons of tips and tricks, and answer any questions on stream, so definitely check out the Twitch or YouTube down below and subscribe or follow, and let's get into it. But special thanks to the sponsor of this video, ExitLag. I don't know about you, but I freaking hate lag. It might be the thing that tilts me the most about playing video games. That's really where ExitLag comes in, because it's a gaming optimization tool that is literally designed to help people with their server issues, providing dedicated routes to allow you a seamless and a lag-free experience. There's a ton of key features involved, including AI being used to find the best routes for data packets in real time and optimizing your connections to over 2,000 game servers worldwide, dynamic stabilizers, which are going to be able to find 4 paths simultaneously, ensuring faster, safer, and fail-safe delivery, and then scalable infrastructure with over 1,000 servers across 5 continents and 18 million weekly optimizations. Users can have top-tier performance in games regardless of where you live. Now, this is a special holiday campaign that is 50% off your annual campaign, so if you want a season of smooth gameplay while you climb the ladder, then there's literally not a better time. And with the holidays here, I want to have a perfectly lag-free experience. I don't know about you, so do yourself a favor and check it out right now in the links down below. And once again, special thanks to the sponsor of this video, ExitLag, for supporting the channel, and let's get back into it. Now, before we begin, there's a lot of techs and tips in this video, but if you have your own that you found out, definitely share it with the community down below. I'll be harding all the interesting ones so people can learn from the comment section as well. And if you learn something, add something. Now, number 1 is that hitboxes are actually not symmetrical. You would think that your bullets would come from your crosshair, but they actually come from your character, which is on the left side of your screen. This means that the hitboxes on the left side of characters is very close to the target, while the hitboxes on the right side of characters is actually more forgiving. It means that technically you should be aiming slightly right of center mass when you're trying to aim at people. Also, because of this, you should always position with a wall to your left side when trying to fight enemies, and not a wall to your right, because it makes it a lot easier for you to peek out, see enemies, and shoot them in a forgiving way where your bullets don't get caught on the wall. Number 2 is synergy bonus. Originally, a lot of people believed that this was created when 2 characters were played together, but these bonuses are actually seasonal bonuses that apply to all these characters regardless of who they're played with for the entire season. Now, I don't love this system, and we'll have to see how it changes over time, but just know that only the abilities are activated with synergies, but the flat buff effects are seasonal abilities not impacted by what characters you play together. Number 3 is Mantis Sleep. Did you know that this super powerful ability can be countered by simply shooting the purple spirit? Well, not many people know this, even in high level elo. If you see someone get slept, wake them up right away before continuing to attack the mantis. Now, something you might not know is that when there's gold around your health bar, that means you're crowd control resistant, which means you can't get scooped up, pushed around, eaten by Jeff the Shark, and this applies to all sorts of things. So when you are in your turret as Punisher or your ultimate, you'll easily see that golden bar, and there's a lot of characters that you'll see that golden bar as well. This is a really important one to take note of. Now, everyone knows about Jeff the Shark eating up your team and jumping off the map with them, but what if I told you that Rocket can actually live being jumped off the map even if the Jeff himself dies? This is because Rocket's hitbox is so small that if you instantly shift up, you'll actually be able to make it out of there and not instantly die like every other character. Now, while this is on by default for supports, every other role needs to turn on allied health bars. And if you're a support player wondering why your teammates are lost, that's because they don't know what health you have and they never turned it on. Now, going back to Rocket, you should deploy his BRB system in spawn so that your teammates can grab the armor and the super jump, and then you can destroy your BRB and instantly redeploy it when you get back into the fight, and your teammates will be able to take all of that extra stuff with them on their flanks or in their pushing of the point. Now, Penny's Nest can be confusing and hard to understand, but here's how it works. When you throw down the Penny's Nest, it will connect to any enemies through her nets. So if you have a line of nets towards an enemy, all of the little drone things will go and attack you. So if she actually ults from her generator to you, it will travel all the way. And that's why it's really important that if she pops ultimate, you want to kill that generator as fast as possible. And as Penny, you want to try to create these connections with your nets and with your ultimate from your generator to the opponents. Now, chronovision allows you to see all the things that are breakable, and you should be doing this often. It's really hard to memorize everything that's breakable in any given moment, so in any downtime, you can pop this, find out exactly where you can route to and move to, or maybe even a hole to break in a wall so that you can shoot enemies. There's a lot of different places that you could go. Now, Notable Dagger can't break walls very easily at all, if at all, because her bullets bounce, so that's kind of funny. Now, there are a lot of interesting map effects in this game. First off, Holiday ExitLag, if you destroy enough of the map, there will be fire called on that first point. On the second point, there will be a hole to float. And on the third point, there will be fog everywhere. And this happens when you destroy enough around the map. For Hell's Haven, the Hydra map, the map is going to shift when you cap the objective, and then it's going to shift again at random increments. We tested it, and we can't find a rhyme or reason for things shifting, but we saw the pillars reset every time it was recapped by an opponent or it switched caps. For Hell's Haven Frozen Airfield, there's a breakable garage door that opens up to an entirely different area to fight or flank, where you can go on the top of this train car, and these doors are gonna also change at random times, so you have to be ready for you to get blocked off, and you can actually get squished here, similar to freaking Luke Skywalker. Now, if your ultimate gets canceled and you never actually use it, you're gonna get 50% of your ult back, which is a nice little compromise when you get stunned out of your whatever ult, but it's also important that if you cancel an ult, that ult is gonna come back very quickly, so keep that in mind. For Cloak and Dagger Dark Teleport, it's going to make people untargetable inside the area for 2 seconds unless you do any action. This includes something like reloading, shooting, sprinting, anything like that will actually take you out of the untargetability. So even though it's like habit to reload or do all these things, make sure that you don't when you're trying to dodge an ultimate or something. For Spider-Man and Venom, you need to be turning automatic swing off. When it's on, you just swing from the skybox, but when it's on, you can swing off the ground, swing off certain doors, and it enables a ton of text and advanced stuff that you can incorporate as well. This is something that you pretty much can't play with on. It basically caps what you can even do on this character. Now, number 16 is that people have physical bodies, and one of the most powerful things you could do is actually body block them to prevent them from running away. If you're in a situation where someone's trying to run away and you have the numbers and the healing, put yourself literally in front of your opponents, sometimes even stuff them in the corner so they can't get through and they're stalled just long enough for you to potentially kill them. This is something that you can incorporate a lot more than you think. It's like setting a goddamn pick in basketball. Now, something to note, if you're untargetable, you can't contest objectives, so don't pop your Psylocke ult when you need to clutch a point, and also when you're like underground, for instance, like Jeff. While you are targetable, the objective will still tick down, and I think that's a good thing, so we're not all chasing after Jeff like a goddamn leprechaun. Now, Eye of Agamotto, Doctor Strange's ultimate, is actually something that creates 2 bodies, the physical body and the spirit body, and that means AoE effects will actually hit both. So if you see people stunned, use whatever AoE effect you have and actually deal double damage. Now, for Clintar, I hope I'm saying that right, it has many things that you can shoot to cut off the chokes. All these symbiotes are super powerful. You could use them as ramps. You can use them to cut off sight lines after you made a flank or after you're trying to make a flank. And you can even choke wall people off like a Groot wall behind them, prevent them from running away at certain choke points. Keep these in mind because they change how this map is played dramatically. Now, this is about the height that you can be at and still contest objectives, and it's important to know this so you don't accidentally step off when it ticks all the way down. Now, Adam Warlock's ult, Karmic Revival, is super strong, but a little bit confusing. Well, as for 10 seconds, Adam Warlock is going to resurrect any player nearby towards that res station. But if he himself walks towards them, it actually shortens the distance because the distance that it casts is based on his position, not where he casts the ultimate. A little complicated, but if you pop it and then run through a whole bunch of bodies far away, it will actually resurrect all the people back in the origin position, even if you go through a teleporter. Now, in lobbies of Diamond, Elo, or higher, there will be a pick and ban system. This will have a max ban of 4 and a min ban of 2. Basically, both teams will pick one ban simultaneously, and if they pick the same character, then only 1 gets banned, and if they pick different characters, then 2 gets banned, and it happens twice, so max 4, min 2. Now, for 23, a general tip I have is to don't auto-ban. Everyone's going to try to auto-ban the same, like, 2 or 3 characters, but based on your composition, some characters are harder to deal with than others. Let's take Hawkeye, for example, a character that can be an absolute menace to deal with unless you're playing a dive composition. So if you're rocking Panther, Psylocke, Hulk, you don't really care about banning that Hawkeye, and you can ban something else instead. Now, for overtime, it's going to wind down even if you're on the objective, so you can't get off for a single moment after a couple seconds once it goes down all the way to 0, and this is something you should know so you don't boop someone off but also step off yourself and lose. Now, there's a lot of things that you need to focus on destroying. Loki copies should not just be allowed to sit there. Shoot them. Penny mine deployment should be shot as well, including the mines that could just kill people, and rockets BRB should be hunted and destroyed. All these things need to be focused, and they're gonna allow you and your team to just have a much easier time dealing with these characters when these pieces of random utility isn't just spread out across the map. Now, Winter Soldier's Armed and Dangerous ultimate doesn't actually have to get a kill to get a reset. If they are in your corner after you've activated it but die midway through, you will actually still get the reset. In addition to that, you'll get the reset on things like Loki clones, so they can be a double-edged sword for Loki players because it gives you a lot of freaking resets. Now, a lot of people ask me how they get better, and the best thing you could do is actually VOD review yourself. And notably, you need to focus on, one, deaths, because oftentimes, deaths could be avoided if you made better ability use decisions, so when and where you're going to use your abilities, or positional decisions. Where am I playing relative to my teammate's position? And this is an easy way to get better. And in addition to that, you could also do ultimates. How much value are you getting out of your ultimates? When are you using it where you shouldn't have, or you used it based on something you didn't know or didn't play around, like a support ultimate, for instance. Now, the card actually moves by itself, but does speed up slightly with more people on it. That being said, do not stack card if another fight can happen before the checkpoint. This is one of the most common problems that we saw back in Overwatch, and it's still being repeated to this day. You want to play in good positions that make it hard for opponents to win the fight. This means taking really strong high ground angles. This means playing wide and using cover. This does not mean all stacking onto point, because guess what? You're all stacking in one spot. You're really susceptible to many ultimates that do damage in one freaking spot. If being super slightly faster can make it so you cap without enemies being able to touch, then sure. But most of the time, there's going to be another fight, and you want to make it so that you win that fight, so position well before the fight happens. The number 29 is that stats do not matter. Accuracy, heals, damage, none of these things matter. You could have high accuracy because you're only taking easy shots. You could have high heals because you're only heal botting and doing nothing else. You could have high damage because you're only shooting the tank and never generating any kills or value for your team. All these things are super subjective, and they don't actually matter, so don't use them as things to use to prove that you played good or bad. They don't matter without the context that surrounds them. The only thing that does truly matter is your KD, mainly your deaths. How much did you die relative to your team? If you died exponentially more than your teammates did on average, then you definitely made some vital mistakes, and you could VOD review yourself, like I said, in tip number 27. Now, tip number 30, Luna Snow's heal works like this. You could put an idol on a character and heal another character, and the other person will get a little bit of that heal. I consider it like an EXP share from Pokemon, where that person will get a little bit of the heal that you're giving to the main target. This is why you put it on a diver, something hard to hit, something with high mobility. So you're simultaneously healing the diver and healing your tank as well, and giving everyone the amount of heals that they need. Now, Star-Lord's flip actually gives him invulnerability frames, so he can survive almost anything if you time it perfectly right. This is including things like Iron Man ult or even Scarlet Witch's ult. And Iron Fist is similar in the way that he could survive most sources of damage with his parry, just like Scarlet Witch's ult, womp womp. Now, number 32 is one tip for positioning, which is make sure that you're playing within cover. Let's imagine that a Hawkeye pops his ultimate. Are you in a position that you can survive the onslaught of arrows? If it takes you 4 or 5 steps to get to cover, you're probably gonna die. And it's important that you always have some amount of cover that you can play to and from, and never just standing in the open at all times. You should be going from one piece of cover to the next. But positioning is a really complex topic and demands an entire video, which we're dropping next week, so subscribe so you don't miss that one. And number 33 is mechanics or aim. And the 2 core tips I'll give you is number 1, crosshair placement. When you're doing damage, whether it's doing damage from range or you're 180ing to fight somebody, you want to make sure that your crosshairs always head level. A lot of newer players have the bad habit of aiming too low towards people's feet and missing easy shots that if you're spamming or shooting, the height is always the same. Ideally, you only want to be rotating on the X-axis and not aiming on the Y-axis or going up and down if at all possible. In addition to that, I want you to stay away from lazy aim, which is a concept where you are just kind of throwing damage out there without taking the time to line up and actually aim things properly. If you're not trying consistently for high accuracy criticals, then you're gonna miss them. And this could be really where a lot of people's mechanical skill stagnates, because they are satisfied with what they're doing and they're not actively pushing themselves, even if it's uncomfortable, to hit harder to hit shots. And number 34 is countering ults. And there are many ultimates that demand you know they are there and make a game plan around them. Let's take Luna Snow's ult for instance. That thing is going to shut down basically any DPS ult you have. So if you know that, what can you do to pressure her out and make her use it? Well, you could try to go set up an aggressive play on her. You could go try to join dive her. Hell, maybe one person can use an ult just to bait it out so that your next ult is going to be able to actually connect. Coming up with a game plan for these ultimates is the cornerstone to making plans that actually win fights and win games. And number 35, my favorite character, Bucky. He has a super powerful rotation hook, where if an enemy is off to the side of you slightly, you can hook them in 180 and boop them right into your team with your punch uppercut. This means that that character will take a ton of damage, be brought way away from their team, and then you can body block them like in the tip we gave previous, and almost assuredly get the kill. Now going back to Luna Snow ult, which is 12 seconds long by the way, and a lot of other ults like Mantis ult for instance, you need to understand the concept of kiting. What this means is backing away and giving ground until these ultimates fade away. There's no point in actively fighting on point and committing to a fight when the entire team isn't possible to kill inside a Luna Snow ult. This means that you need to back up, and allow the opponents to win the fight in the short term, win the battle, so that once it ends, you can push back in and win the war. But if you try to stop an immovable object, you're gonna get stomped over. This is why it's your job and everyone's job to back up and back away when there are ultimates that are super oppressive and strong. Now, of course, there's also more direct counters to Luna Snow ult, like an Iron Man ultimate or a Jeff the Shark eating everyone inside the Luna Snow ultimate besides her, but those are going to be few and far between. And number 37 is Psylocke's combo. Did you know that you primary fire and shoot out 2 little bursts of damage, then you alternate fire and dash through? It's going to kill a 250 HP hero even if you hit no headshots. Is that crazy? I think it is. The reason is because the alternate fire sticks to a surface and deals damage, and when you dash, they retract back to Psylocke, dealing more damage as they leave. And because you're dashing through them, it's going to deal double that damage and the dash itself, plus both of the shots in the primary fire, which means that you're going to kill people. Now, granted, this might not always kill if they're getting healed or something like that, but you could always incorporate a primary into an alternate fire, into a primary, into a dash, into a 180, into more primary. Yeah, I know, it's a lot, but you could do a crazy amount of burst damage with this character. In addition to that, while Luna Snow ult is basically untouchable, Psylocke's ult can actually kill a Mantis during her ult if she is specifically being solo ulted, but you gotta ult her right in the center because that Mantis is gonna be running the hell out. The number 39 is about Cloak and Dagger's ultimate. And did you know that it actually stacks the damage and healing if you cover the same spot? It's like heavily painting over the spot over and over again. It gets darker. Similar concept. And this means that if you go back and forth on the same spot and stand into it, you are gonna be almost immortal. Even to something like a Punisher ultimate, you're literally not even gonna care. Look at how little the health bar moves here. Now for number 40, the Moon Knight combo is super strong. You're going to throw down your Ankh and it's going to bring people in. You're going to do your primary fire followed by your alternate animation cancel your primary. And you can see just how fast this kills people out of nowhere. You take a high ground position, you find an unsuspecting victim, and you murder them very freaking quickly. Shout out Heathen. Now for number 41, it's about flanking on Namor. Now I know that this character is really good from mid to even long range, but something that's super strong is actually popping out of a flank, dropping down both of your turrets, whether it's a normals or one normal and one slow, and using it for cover while you duel. And when you hit that alternate fire, both of your turrets are going to focus the target that you hit. And yeah, this is simultaneously really scary and really strong. Also, an additional tip on this is a lot of Namors wait for their entire ball to end, but it's often more powerful to use it as a dueling tool where you pop into it, instantly cancel out of it, and do more damage instead of just making it super telegraphed where you can get gripped by a Winter Soldier or pinned by something. You don't want to just let yourself sit there the whole time unless you're waiting for a specific teammate to come and bail you out. Now, general number 42 is, how does Thor work? I recently have learned a lot about Thor as one of my most played characters. Here's how he works. He has 3 things that are the Thor Force, And they're the cornerstone of all of his abilities. If he uses his fly, he's going to use one. If he uses his throwing his hammer, he's going to use one. And if he wants to go Super Saiyan mode, which is what I'm going to call it, he uses 3. Now, Super Saiyan mode does a crazy amount of damage and can allow you to just kill people in the back line if they're not paying attention, and you want to do this often. But the other abilities are really strong too. When you fly, you actually gain 100 health, and I love to see jump and fly downward when I'm trying to juke people and make it really hard for people to hit me, and I'm gaining a lot of health while I do it. You can also animation cancel his primary with the hammer, but this one is going to be more situational because you want to go Super Saiyan and you need all 3, and you want to be able to fly away and you need some to fly away, so it depends on the moment, but if you can kill someone, then do it. Now, your aura is going to be something you're going to throw at corners or chokes and fight on the front line so that you could generate more Thor force and use it for all these amazing things that we talked about. This is Thor in a nutshell, but if you want a more comprehensive guide on Thor, let me know down below and I can whip one out on this channel. The number 43 is about Magneto's ult. This actually absorbs every projectile, including Iron Man's maximum pulse. It just completely neutralizes it. And with ultimates like the Punisher, you can stop them as well, slightly for the most part. And it could be a great thing to do, even up against Punisher turrets, for instance. Really powerful ultimate when used defensively instead of offensively, because it actually stops quite a few ults. The number 44 is about Loki's healing staff. This thing is way more broken than I thought it was. It doesn't make it so that he has a lot of healing. It makes him impossible to kill, because what it does is it translates all damage into healing. This means that anything he takes, he survives through. And this includes an Iron Man ult. This includes a Hawkeye headshot. If these totems aren't destroyed and a Loki standing in there or his allies, they just straight up don't die. I would go as far as to say that this is probably the most powerful single ability in the game. The number 45 is about Doctor Strange's portal. One of the strongest techniques you could utilize is actually, as your team is pushing the choke, you throw the portal back behind the opponents and kind of over their shoulder. And you already have a Punisher set up with a turret. And the reason that this is strong is because the turret can prevent the Punisher from taking any damage. He's going to output a crazy amount of damage, and he's going to have free reign to shoot them from behind. And while you're pushing in through the front, they can't focus on both. And most of the time, they just lose and die. And number 46 is use your damn melee. I think this probably applies to PC players more than console because the binding is weird. It's on V, but you want to make it so that you're using melee all the time. There are so many animation cancels. There are so many times that someone's just 1 HP and you need to kill them. Make sure that you're using your melee more. You're probably not using it enough, to be honest with you. Now, if you're on a default crosshair, you're on the wrong crosshair. You want to have a crosshair that isn't too distracting on screen, and I personally like a dot, but people can use a cross as well. And the idea behind a crosshair is to centralize your aim, but also create contrast between the crosshair and the background. So you want a color that kind of sticks out on certain maps against the foreground or whatever the map colors are. And while the colors of the maps are very random, I typically like lime green because it has the most amount of contrast with most maps. But definitely experiment and find the best one for you. But yeah, I personally love green dot. The number 48 is something that you're probably not going to want to hear, and it's that your teammates do not hold you back. If you are a better player and you consistently try your best to carry games, I don't care how many DPS you get, I don't care how many supports you don't get, I don't care how many no tanks you get, you can definitely win those games. I feel like it's really easy to blame everyone around you, and for those of you who are new to hero shooters, that's just kind of the reality. You are not going to be able to win every single game, but you can be the best player in every single lobby. And if you play enough games as the best player in every single lobby, I promise you, you will 100% climb. I recently popped up on my Thor account on a character that I didn't know how to play, and I went 18-1 all the way to Gold 1 on a character that I learned as I went. And I know that I probably got lucky and there was some nice streaks and tough breaks here and there, but I felt like I could do so much to win my team every game I was in. And if you learn and earn the skills to do this, you will not be stuck in a rank. I don't care what teammates you have. Now, number 49, while learning is cool, I want you to have fun and have fun learning. Have fun getting better. It's amazing getting better at games. It's one of my favorite things to do is become great at a game that I suck at the start, learning so many new things. So while you want to take everything super seriously and be sweaty, which I think is fun, make sure that you try to embrace it and have fun. And try not to base your worth too much on the ranks that you get. And number 50 is a healthy body, a healthy mind. If you want fast reaction time, if you want to be able to play well, if you want to be the best player with the highest peaks you could be, you need to take care of yourself. Eat right, drink right, sleep right. You need to have a healthy body if you want to perform your absolute best. So yeah, touch some grass, spend some time with the family, keep that healthy mind, and then you'll be the absolute best player you could possibly be in your games as well. And you can just win on all axes, which is what we all want. Wait, is it Axis? I don't actually know. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash the like and subscribe if you learned something, and make sure to comment down below if there was any tips and tricks that you want to share with the community so people can learn. And definitely check out my streams on YouTube and Twitch. Please follow me on Twitch. I'm trying to get that number up a bit. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 9 a.m. CST. And yeah, thank you. And I'll see you next time.